Alrighty, hello YouTube. Back with another TV review, and this one's gonna be lengthy, and at the same time, me just currently watching the last episode. I'm very shedding a tear that they did not finish the series of what I'm gonna say on the backhand. This is Mortal Kombat Conquest. This is the prequel and TV series that is in the timeline of the movies, and the writing on this really filled up the bad void of what Annihilation had. Even though I'm going to review Annihilation, I'm not going to completely destroy it because, like I said, I can see good things even in a bad situation. And again, you guys can challenge me to review certain movies if I sit and watch them. I know two right now that people most likely aren't going to tell me, but uh, something is telling me, and this is my instinct. This series was so good that the last two Mortal Kombat games that came out, Mortal Kombat 9 and 10, I really believe they took some pointers from this show. And I say that because I'm gonna try to talk about the technical side of this series and then get to the story linear a little bit. So the show stars Kristanna Loken from Terminator 3 and Blood Rain, even though those are some bad credits. And Daniel, I think his name is Burkhart. I could be mispronouncing that, but he's Agent Smith, and no, he's not Agent Smith. He's Agent Johnson in The Matrix, and he was on some of the following Bloodsport movies. And he's a known, martial artist and stuntman, even though some former roommate of mine said that he had a stunt double on the show. He didn't sit down and watch it like I did because I saw it years ago on YouTube, and I finally found the DVD, and I want to sit there and rewatch it again because, I only saw it once. And then, of course, there were a few good fight scenes. But I remember him saying on The Matrix, yeah, he's a martial artist, and of course he was on Bloodsport. So some of the other actors had stunt doubles, and the guy that you're seeing on the front, I cannot pronounce his name. I want to say Pablo, but he's Filipino. He's not, Latino. I think it's Paolo something. But his other credit was that movie he did with Brandy, Cinderella, back in the 90s. That's probably how he got this gig to be on this show. And again, you can look it up on IMDb. Again, forgive me because he is a good actor, and that's one of the few points I'm going to hit on. One of the three strong points of this show. And Jeffrey Meek, I don't know who that is. He plays Raiden. Tracy Douglas plays Vorpax. Again, look up these people on IMDb. Bruce Locke is Shang Tsung. Those are pretty much the five main regulars. And the funny thing, Jeffrey Meek plays Raiden and Shao Kahn. And in the story of Mortal Kombat, the original movie timeline, they were both brothers. So it's kind of funny how now both actors are playing the same role. But yeah, the series had ended on a cliffhanger, and they did have something on one of the websites where they talked about what happened right afterwards, and it led up to the first movie. And it just kind of sucks because the writing on it was very, very good. It was decent. It was, like I said, it filled in the void of how bad Annihilation was. As it being lackluster, it gave a lot more time. I think it's like 20 something episodes, and it developed a lot of the characters very, very well. And the storytelling was very good. So the technical part going into the games versus the series, where I think they took some pointers. So any fan of the game, Mortal Kombat is a tournament where our realm is one of many worlds, and Outworld is where Emperor had crowned himself king. And in order for him to take or merge a realm, he has to win 10 straight victories in Mortal Kombat. So one of the main pointers that I just saw right now in the last episode of what happened in Mortal Kombat 9, the reboot, is that the rules can be wavered as long as you don't take a realm. You can still enter it and kill a bunch of people. And that's technically what Shao Kahn was saying at the final episode of Raiden. And then I was like, wait a minute, that happened in Mortal Kombat 9. And then in Mortal Kombat X, there's a character called Takeda. I think he's the son of the blind swordsman Kenshi. I haven't sat down and played because I don't have PS4 yet, but I have friends, and of course here on YouTube, you can watch the whole movie thing of behind the scenes. And I'm bringing this up because in the storyline of the movie slash TV show, the Shirai Ryu don't exist. The funny thing, some of the lore is here, some of the lore isn't. The Lin Kuei is here, but the Shirai Ryu that Scorpion's Ninja Clan is a part of are not here. The origin story for what they did with Scorpion was still interesting though. He was a bodyguard for a baron at a trading post, and some kind of spirit of a scorpion was consumed by him when Shang Tsung had worked some sorcery on it. And ironically, the host, his name was Takeda. So I was like, I see what they did there, because in the story of MKX, Takeda is training with Scorpion, and it was just kind of funny how I caught that. But the storyline or the timeline, they didn't really tell. I had to look this up online myself. It takes place in the 1400s in somewhere called Shuzhen, and it's implied that it's somewhere in Southeast Asia around Cambodia, because they used some stock footage from the film, and whatnot. And also something that's telling me they took some pointers from the show Hercules and Xena as well. It had that Xena and Hercules 90s vibe, and it fit really well, especially the guy that played Zero, the way he was dressed. It looked a little bit like Hercules a little bit. And let's just say if you're watching this and someone walks in, they think you're watching Hercules, and you go fool them and say, no, it's Mortal Kombat Conquest. Like I said, it still had that vibe. And now that I think about it, that's probably why the show didn't get another run, because Hercules and what's it called, it had dominated it over ratings, but also they said, because of budget and a whole bunch of multitude of things. So the three things that stand out is that number one, the guy whose name I can't fully pronounce, or I kind of somewhat forgot, the one that's shown on the screen with the in front of the dragon and all that. He was a very good actor. He hit a lot of good emotional cue points. He wasn't overacting like some of the other actors. What I noticed in the series, it was some of the acting on certain points, they were like, I don't take you as seriously, or you sound more like a straight up brat, like a grown adult brat. I know in one of the episodes, a couple of episodes, some of the actors were doing that. One of the best episodes was the Serpent in the Ice, and just by the title, you already know it's Scorpion and Sub-Zero fighting each other. That's something that a lot of fans, if you play the original game growing up like I did, at one point you had a Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight back from the very first game, and of course they're the series mascot. And one of the best fight scenes out of the entire series was when Reptile was featured, and they had a character named Tomas that looked a little bit like Johnny Cage, and he was fighting Daniel Burkett's character Zero, and a buddy of mine that does martial arts, he was telling me he was doing a form of Wing Chun, which is Chinese boxing. But if you see Ip Man and then you see his fighting, it's mixed with something else, because he doesn't take the traditional stance. But some of them body hits were Wing Chun in a way that they were moving, and that was those are the three biggest highlights. But there's some good other ones too. Some of the episodes and the writing were very, very good and linear. They gave multiple. They weren't doing the same thing-esque every single episode. What the Emperor and what Shang Tsung were trying to do, they were trying to kill Kung Lao so he wouldn't fight in Mortal Kombat. And they all did it, in different ways in each episode. Sometimes they even fought each other, because Shang Tsung got punished for losing the Mortal Kombat in the Cobalt Mines, and he's been trying to kill Kung Lao to get out of him, but at the same time, he struck alliances with certain people. They had double-crossed and betrayed him, and it was a lot of stuff jumping around, and a little bit of banter back and forth, and it was good writing, because it's kind of like the Roadrunner and Coyote. He can never ever get him. And later in the later story, he finally did get him, but of course it came back to get Shang Tsung in the Mortal Kombat movie when Liu Kang had killed him. And another good cue point, speaking of alliances, Quan Chi appears on this, and I think the creators also took note of them creating the next game with and at that point in time, which is Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. And ironically, there's an episode called Unlike Unholy Alliance or something like that, where the two of them team up. So it's kind of funny how they did it on the show first, and then the creators actually made a game. Um, I'm not gonna go through all the characters that appeared, because they did create a lot of original characters who were on this series that were interesting. And the funny thing is that with the characters that were featured, it goes all the way up to Mortal Kombat 4. It could be Gold. I really couldn't remember Gold that much, but Mortal Kombat Gold was pretty much an expansion of 4. Uh, Only like two out of, well, I take that back. Out of the whole timeline, including the movies themselves, only about 3 characters from the Mortal Kombat 4 game were even featured. It was Reiko, Quan Chi, and Shinnok. And Shinnok doesn't appear on the series, but appears on Annihilation, and he looks different. That's why you couldn't recognize him, and even I was shocked, you know. But when we get to Mortal Kombat Annihilation and in the first movie, I'll talk all about it. This series, it was very bittersweet. The way it ended, Raiden gets lured into Outworld, and when that happens, he loses his powers. And as a spoiler, I'm gonna tell you what happens really quick. The alliances that Shao Kahn had, he lost them all, or people had betrayed him. You know, Reptile's realm was conquered by him. He had betrayed him. He ends up getting killed by the Shadow Priest. Tracy Douglas's character does, who plays Warpax, Shang Tsung, Quan Chi, merely every single major reoccurring cast member and or character, and then main characters, they all died. And then I was reading online, and Shao Kahn had did something where the Elder God stepped in, and they had stripped him of being a host or something like that in Mortal Kombat. He was only a spectator. So it would explain why in the first movie Shang Tsung is now taking his role. And it was very funny, you know, with all the plotting and scheming, and you know, it was just very, very good at how it was written. A lot of hardcore Mortal Kombat fans, they know about this show. You know, another friend of mine in college, he watched this show too. He said he really liked it. He was the one that really said, you know, it filled in the void of Annihilation, and it kind of did. The crappy part is that they were planning a season two. You know, they would have had Goro. They probably would have had Baraka. Even though Goro was shown on here, he was only CG. He didn't really fight. It was like a stock footage still. Smoke was only shown on one episode. It was. I'm assuming in season 2 they were going to utilize him, and it was just a lot of things that what could have been, and they just never did it. Of course, Goro in the game as well as on here, he does kill Kung Lao. I don't know if that's how the series would have ended, but like I said, I saw the whole timeline phase on their website. So, there are some other, known stars that appear on this series. Eva Mendes is the top famous one. And then I think Brooke Shields was on one episode. I know I'm leaving somebody else out. A couple of the Playboy models are on here as well, or Playmates. I think the one that played Shang Tsung's old girlfriend, Omich's, the redhead, I think her name was Angelica Houston. I'm assuming, but she is beautiful, and some of the women on here are a tad bit slutty, and it's kind of funny how they PG-13 it up a little bit. Oh, I know who the other celebrity was. Can't remember her name, but she was on Austin Powers, and I believe she was the chick. It was the first Austin Powers movie. She was the chick that was washing his back and spying on him. She's on this series too. And again, she looked like she was in her 40s, but she still looked damn good. I was like, man, but I'm getting a little bit excited. Overall, check this out. You can buy the DVD was kind of hard to find. I got lucky, and and also I think all the episodes on YouTube, or at least I still hope they are. But the other messed up part, there's no features. There's no behind the scene featurette like the first movie did. I know some of the actors possibly did an interview. I know Tracy Douglas did. I haven't watched it yet, but they use a still, and hopefully she does talk about it when I do watch it. But overall, that's all I got. I'm probably gonna remember something else later. It's probably gonna make me mad. I've been debating about writing scripts, but I've just been working on my comic book stuff lately. I ain't really had the time. But let the discussions go in the comment section, and I will talk to all you guys later. And the next one, by the way, is gonna be something very special. Just PS. Alrighty, talk to you later. Peace.